This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you are watching another episode of Between the Ropes. And tonight we have a very special edition of Between the Ropes for you. We're jumping back to the 90s / the attitude that we talk about. And then tonight we even have a special guest for you. So I'm going to introduce our special guest first. So, Mr. Thomas, how are you doing tonight, my man?
Doing good. How was everybody?
Good.
Fantastic. All right, Crispy Bacon, how are you doing?
I am good, not too bad. Glad to be back.
All right, and then of course, Christy Wilson, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Just ready to talk wrestling.
All right, and then Dragon Viper, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Just, like Christy said, ready to talk wrestling and get this show going.
All right, I absolutely love to hear that. The first thing that we're going to talk about here, and so Thomas, since you're a special guest, I'm definitely going to start out with you. Even though we're talking about the 90s and the Attitude Era tonight, to you, would you say that the 90s / the Attitude Era was probably the greatest parts in WWE history?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. All the great characters, all the great stories they were telling. Not very misses. Lots of hits. Great TV.
All right, well, so I want to know what your thoughts are on this, about where people are talking about how what made the Attitude Era so great was not only the storylines that they came up with, but they were talking about because of, that bleeding was allowed and that they would blade and actually take chair shots and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in your opinion, do you believe that this is what made the Attitude Era so great?
It was. It helped. It wasn't like the main thing that made it great, just the stories and the characters. If you really go back and watch it, there really wasn't that much bleeding. The chair shots to the head weren't happening all the time.
Mm-mm.
But it was part of it. You can't deny that.
No, and that's fine. Like, I agree with that. It's just I understand why WWE went away from that for a while. With the blading and the chair shots, because they were concerned about wrestler safety and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get why they went away from that. But we look at the Attitude Era in a whole, and we all agree that the Attitude Era was fantastic.
Hell yeah.
It was great.
Dragon Viper, I know that you agree with that too. Like, the Attitude Era was your absolute favorite. Am I correct?
You are correct. It was absolutely my favorite.
Christy, was the Attitude Era your favorite also?
It was, because it had, this wasn't just the matches, it was the stories and everything behind it. Definitely made it a great period of time in wrestling.
All right. Crispy, I know you're kind of new on the scene here, so I don't know if you ever got a chance to really go back and watch any of the Attitude Era or anything like that.
Yeah, I've been watching, a little bit here and there. It was probably the best part of it. Now, back then you could probably get away with a little bit more than what you could now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of that seemed to help.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So thank you, Crispy, for that, because I knew you were new, but that's okay. So going into our first thing of the 90s / Attitude Era. So So Thomas, overall, who do you think had the best character work in the Attitude Era?
Triple H, because watching him ascend from the mid card to the main event to evolving into the game, into the cerebral assassin, just unbelievable.
Okay, now you're going with Triple H, which is completely okay. You know, you're saying that he evolved into the cerebral assassin, which made it great. But to me, I really look at the Undertaker, and I really look to see what he really did with his character, to where he really took his character and like he put it over the top, and I feel like became that locker room leader. So, and I'm not saying you're wrong about Triple H, because I can look at what he did with his character and be like, yeah, it was phenomenal. Also, I completely agree with that. The Undertaker, I felt like, did a fantastic job with his character. Now, Thomas, you probably know who my favorite WWE superstar is of all time.
Isn't it the Rock? Is it Austin or the Rock? I don't remember.
No, my favorite.
Or am I
actually,
completely wrong?
It was from the Attitude Era, but my favorite superstar of all time is actually Kane.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Kane, that's the guy.
Yep, Kane. All right, so Dragon Viper, who do you think had the best character in the Attitude Era?
Oh my God. I know there were some. I'd have to go with. Well, yeah, there's several. I'll just say The Rock. I mean, The Rock started out, mid card and went up to the top real quick, but I think he evolved very well.
All right, Christy.
Definitely with Dragon Viper there on The Rock. I mean, started out mid card and then they just evolved his character to what it became, and he went up to main event status pretty fast. But it was really cool to watch.
Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, I'm kind of going that route, but I'll also throw in maybe Edge at the time, because he was just kind of starting out. It was a few years before, he got the tag titles and all that. But I would go with Edge and then also The Rock.
All right, here comes a big debate that this might cause a lot of controversy, and that's okay. No, only because I love to hear this. Who was the most overrated wrestler in the Attitude Era?
Oh my God.
Thomas, we're going to go and start out with you. Who was the most overrated wrestler from the Attitude Era?
I hate to be a hater, but I gotta go with Kane. He was after they figured the Undertaker and WrestleMania.
Oh my God!
It was back and forth with teaming with Taker, hating Taker, teaming, hating, teaming, hating. Like it was too much. Pick a side already.
Yeah.
Probably got super confusing there. Like, whose side are you really on anyway?
Oh man, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts deep.
Oh, Ace is like,
hurts.
ow,
That hurts.
ah.
Oh, I don't know if I can recover from that one. Oh my gosh,
Oh no.
that hurts.
Oh my God.
All right, Dragon Viper, how about you?
Oh my God.
And don't you dare say it. Don't you dare.
For the love of God, don't say it.
Oh, Attitude Era overrated. Crap. Oh, this is a good one. Well, he was still technically Attitude Era to a point, small point. Bret Hart. He was still he was beginning of Attitude Era, but I think he was overrated.
And And Dragon Viper, this is from you, just from Callan. You know he's got to say it every time.
Oh
There it is.
God!
He's got to say it every time.
He's got to do it. He's
Just
got
to
to
get
do
you.
it.
Just to get you every time. He's got to say it every time he jumps on.
Speaking of overrated,
I knew you were gonna go there.
So he's gonna get. Yeah, you knew it was gonna go in that direction, right there, right there.
All right, so Christy, who do you think was the most overrated from the Attitude Era?
Oh my God, this is hard. I'm gonna get into so much trouble for saying this. I'm gonna go Stone Cold.
oh,
I am gonna get into I warned you. I warned you.
oh,
I was gonna get into trouble for saying Stone Cold,
No,
even though
it's-
he was like a huge part of the Attitude Era of him drinking beers, hitting stunners on everyone, including Vince McMahon.
well, you know what?
Yeah.
It's when you look at that though, it's like
Mhm.
what's so hard about that is like when everybody has a different thing on like what makes a person overrated. Okay,
Yeah.
like that's the big debate. It's like to
Yeah.
you, what makes a person overrated? Well, when I watch a wrestling match, I like to see, the good in-ring work.
Yeah.
If somebody's good on the mic, that's great. But I also want to see somebody who can work good in the ring. Now, could Austin work matches? I mean, he could work matches, but he wasn't the greatest technician in the ring.
No,
Like,
he wasn't.
that wasn't Austin's style.
No.
I've always debated whether or not he was one of the most overrated ones. Now, I personally don't think he was.
Mhm.
There was one guy from the Attitude Era that really came to mind that I was like, was he kind of overrated? And I was like, he was in a way.
Mhm.
And that was when you think about the Brood, right? You got
Mhm.
Ed, you got Christian,
Yep.
but then you have this guy that people
Gangrel.
sometimes forget
Gangrel.
about, and
Mhm.
Gangrel, and
Yeah.
people kind of forget about him. Now, the first time I heard this dude talk on the mic, I was like, oh my God, never give this guy a microphone ever again.
Let's just have
Because
Edge
it
or
was-
Christian do the talking.
Because it was so bad. Like the first time that I heard him talk on the mic, like I saw Edge like looking down, and I felt bad for Edge. Like Edge is probably thinking, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna bury me. This guy's gonna end my freaking career," because the guy was so bad on the mic that,
Yeah.
that if I had to say
And-
an overrated wrestler, it was Gangrel. I know they were supposed to bring him out as like this big scary guy to make the
Mhm.
Brood and drinking blood and everything, but I don't know. I just didn't buy it. I didn't
Yeah.
buy it.
I mean, at
Um,
least Edge and Christian each went on to have unbelievable, successful careers on their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Uh,
each did.
Crispy Bacon.
Does Vince McMahon count?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, you
We'll go
can.
Vince
Throw him in
McMahon.
there. Just throw him in
Absolutely.
there.
Because he was the person who ran WWE, but when he had his matches or what he thought were matches, I don't know if they were part of for the right reason, but he thought they were, and we'll just say Vince McMahon.
You're saying Vince McMahon. All
Yeah.
right. All right. All right.
I
So
can see where it's coming from. Because he was on TV way too much. Like
He was.
maybe 4 or 5 times on that 2-hour show. He was on TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when he had
I just remember
co-ownership
seeing him, I just-
with Flair
Yeah.
yeah.
at one point.
Every time I would see him, I was just like, "Really, you're back again? Go away! Go away!
God,
no
chance.
No chance!"
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No, we get it. So, speaking of the Attitude Era, you had this faction that was called DX. Absolutely,
If
DX,
you
right?
ain't down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
Now, I got in a debate the other day about this with my cousin, and we were talking about DX, and we were talking about when Shawn Michaels was in DX, and then Shawn left DX, and then came back to DX, and it's like, to me, Shawn being in DX was huge. Now, I'm not saying that's what made DX huge, but in my personal opinion, I feel like Shawn kind of helped put DX over the top. Now, there's other people who disagree with that and say that DX was actually better without Shawn. So Thomas, in your opinion, do you feel like Shawn Michaels kind of put DX over the top, or do you feel like with everybody else say DX would have been just fine without Shawn Michaels?
You can go either or. You only have a small sample size of Shawn and DX. It would have been interesting to see what he would have done with X-Pac and the Outlaws. But as a founding father, he got it over huge. He elevated Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, but I know that people were saying that DX got more over after Shawn wasn't there, and I'm like, I don't know. I felt like, and I know you're a historian, Thomas, so I know you kind of know a lot about this stuff, but would you agree that DX was more over after Shawn left?
Yeah, because they were more hard hitting and a little more edgier. Because all they were like with Shawn are just more like sophomore high school antics. Putting the Canadian flag in your nose, pulling your pants down, being silly, being stupid. But DX is more. But with the Triple H led DX, they were more serious.
Okay.
More hard hitting and everything.
Okay. All right, we'll get Dragon Viper's advice on that one. With Shawn or without Shawn?
Oh, definitely with Shawn. I mean, Shawn helped create it and start it. And, they did those two other bouts where it was Shawn and Triple H, together when DX reformed a couple other times too. And,
Yeah.
And, Thomas is right. When it came with Shawn, it was more antics, high school, sophomore antics, the pranks, the jokes. And I mean, in my opinion, I feel that with Shawn in it, it was better because I thought it was funnier. It made DX, he made DX a lot better being in it. And, and with Shawn out, they were a little bit about pranks, but it was mostly what Thomas said. They were serious. So I would have preferred Shawn in it a lot better than out.
Whoops, I'm on mute. Sorry. Christy, how about you?
Probably go with Shawn Michaels in it because they were funnier, and with him out of it, DX was more serious. But I think I preferred DX with Shawn Michaels in it.
All right. So Crispy Bacon, I don't know how much you know about DX or whatever, but did you see DX with Shawn and without Shawn?
I saw a little bit of both, more so with Shawn Michaels in it. I mean, you did have, the more iconic promos where he talked about them, one of the networks screaming at them for using bad language, this and that. And they turned it into a storyline. So, I mean, that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I will have to tell you 100% that was actually really funny when they took that and turned it into a storyline because they to go out and apologize, and that was funny. That was an absolute great storyline that they made that into. I definitely could not agree more on that.
It was good.
But speaking of things that were, said during the Attitude Era, I did find this cool thing that I wanted to go through here because I want to see if everybody agrees with this, that they called this the 10 most important promos that define the Attitude Era.
Excuse me.
So these are the promos that they felt were that were the most important in the Attitude Era that made it what it is. So if we go to the first one, we have Paul Bearer with Kane is alive.
Kane is alive.
Kane is alive. He's alive. And I know this kind of goes back to where, Thomas, you were talking about Kane is like one of the ones that you said was kind of overrated and in the Attitude Era. But what do you think about the promo for Paul Bearer with Kane is alive?
It was shocking. Like it was never brought up before about how Taker having a family or being human. So it's pretty cool to hear Paul Bearer try to get Paul Bearer back on the side of the Taker.
Would you agree though that this is a promo that helped the Attitude Era?
No, not even close.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
All it was to start the introduction of a new character. What does that got to do with the help to find the Attitude Era?
Okay, so Thomas, there's one for a disagreement. So Dragon Viper, do you agree or disagree that this was a major promo in the Attitude Era?
I don't believe so. I mean, yeah, it caught people's attention, some people's attention about, wanting to see what's going on the week after week with this whole storyline. But I don't think I don't believe that it's a major promo for the Attitude Era.
All right. Christy.
Yeah, definitely not the best promo, but not the worst either.
Well, no, but I'm saying, do you think it helped kind of define the Attitude Era?
A little bit. Just a little bit. Now, there are other promos that help define the Attitude Era. This was just one of them.
All right, so Chris, I will ask you, I don't know if you heard this promo or not, so.
I haven't, but I mean, if you're just, on there to promote somebody new, I don't know if it really defines the Attitude Era, so I'm probably going to go no.
Okay. Let's go to the next one, number 9. Chris Jericho debuts.
Oh,
I have seen that one, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where everybody was
Break
talking
the
about,
wall
it's the
down.
countdown. It's the countdown. It's the Y2J. Like, nobody knew exactly who it was.
Right.
There was rumblings of that Chris Jericho was debuting and things like that. The Mission Against Sports Truth podcast. Hello, how's it going tonight?
Hello.
Welcome in. Yeah, so, and this is one that they said kind of helped define it by Chris Jericho jumping ship and basically coming to the what was known as the WWF at the time.
Yeah.
This is this one that I will say, yes, Chris Jericho debuting, that was huge because Chris Jericho, to me, whether people agree or not, Chris Jericho was one of the greatest.
Yeah.
That all right. So Thomas, you were saying something?
Yeah, I agree that Jericho's one of the greatest, and now this helped to find the Attitude Era. It was shocking to see Jericho show up in the WWF at the time. No one saw it coming.
Yeah, exactly. That's what shocked me about it. When he showed up, you're like, whoa, Jericho actually came. Because nobody saw that coming. Now, Dragon Viper, you're saying no, like you're saying you don't agree with this.
No, I don't like Jericho very much, but I do agree that it did define the Attitude Era because, I mean, for one, not a lot of people had online resources like they do now, so they had no idea that Jericho was jumping ship. They didn't have any false concrete evidence that, Jericho was going to be in the WWF and who this Y2J thing was. Nobody knew, and so I honestly do think that I agree it did define the Attitude Era.
Hey, we agree on something there, Dragon Viper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though I don't like Jericho, I do agree with you.
Yes, it does, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned that social media thing too, because the pop that Jericho got when he debuted, that was massive.
It was.
That was massive because it was the unknowing.
Mhm.
It was definitely the unknowing. Everyone's like, "Whoa, he came from WCW, really? He actually
Yeah.
made that jump. He made the jump."
Like, damn.
All right, so Christy Wilson, do you agree that this helped define the Attitude Era?
Well, it was one of those moments. This one of the moments that defined it. This was huge. Him going from WCW to what was then WWF, because nobody honestly thought it would happen. I mean,
Alright.
and we didn't have social media at the time, so how could
Mm-hmm.
anybody have known? Nobody did.
Exactly. All right,
Yeah.
Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you didn't have. I mean, there was computers then, but the access to them, as far as the internet goes, was very hard to get.
Hmm.
Not a lot of. I mean, there's probably a lot of people covering wrestling, but
Hmm.
it was very hard to get the information out. I would have to say this would probably be the ones that defined it.
Hmm.
All right. This is your life.
Oh my God.
Which version? I'm just kidding.
Oh my, wow.
I love this.
Oh my God. This looks
Alright,
so
so-
silly.
So Thomas, let's get your thoughts on "This Is Your Life" promo.
It was a great segment, but it does not define the Attitude Era at all. it was just a silly segment with Mankind and The Rock, just to get them over more, and it had nothing to do with the Attitude Era.
Right.
Right. It was a cool It was a cool segment, though.
It was the highest rated segment in like Raw history at the time, so
Mhm.
Yep.
it
Right.
was just silly.
This is your life.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was great.
Ooh.
All right, so Dragon Viper, let's see what your thoughts are on this one.
Oh, I loved this segment. I watch this segment all the time. It's fabulous, but it did not did not define the Attitude Era. It was a hilarious segment that I'm glad they did, but yeah, did not define it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I debated this one because like it really helped The Rock and Mankind as the Rock and Sock connection. So that's why I'm not gonna say no, but I'm not gonna say yes. Only because of what it did for The Rock and Mankind. Which
It'll
is
help them get back to
Because
get
it really
together
put-
more.
yeah, it really put their tag team on the map. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, did it? Maybe. Christy, did I already ask you? I don't remember.
No.
Okay.
I'm
good.
gonna say no. It did not define the Attitude Era, because this just comes across to me as just flat out ridiculous and silly.
You didn't like
It-
that?
You didn't
Oh,
like it? What?
Not really. Not really.
I
It just came
loved
across as
it.
really. It was real to me. It just came across as just really silly. I'm like, look at the person in the dress and the wig. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I thought this.
You
I'm
know-
segment was-
confused here.
That was your for the clown.
Yeah.
So,
I
did you
know
ever
that.
did you ever watch this segment?
No.
If you get a chance,
I missed a huge. I missed good chunks of the Attitude Era.
Oh, you
So-
gotta watch it.
yeah,
I
if
Yeah,
you
you
probably
gotta
get
go
a
back and
chance,
watch it, Christy.
But
If
just
you
looking
get-
at the picture itself, I'm like, huh?
no,
This
no,
looks
no.
really silly
No.
here.
If you get a chance, go back and watch this segment, and you will
Yeah.
realize why it was one of the most viewed in Raw history.
Yeah.
Because the segment, it may look silly, but it wasn't. It was an all-time great segment. It was fantastically
Yes.
Wow.
Go back and watch it and report back to us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
done. Exactly.
That's your
All right.
homework, Christy.
All right.
Crispy Bacon, what you got?
I would go back and watch this too, but I saw the one, probably the second one, where Mick Foley turned the tables and did it to The Rock. What, back in like 2000?
No, the other way around. Rock did it to Mankind.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
And then I saw Alexis Bliss do one, but I didn't see this one. So I wouldn't put it as in, not defining. I like the segments, but if you're doing it more than once, I don't know if it defines it.
Yeah. The Alexa Bliss one was just, I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was stupid.
This is your life.
Yeah, it doesn't rank as high as this one, no.
No.
Oh,
I
here
remember
we
this.
go.
I remember this one.
Here
I
we
remember
go.
this one. This was,
Yeah.
wow.
But
He bought the company.
Crazy.
Well,
Woo.
buying WCW. Yeah, coming out, buying WCW. This to me, because of it just did the whole invasion angle, which
Right.
mhm.
the whole invasion angle, it lasted for such a little time, and I felt like
Yeah, we could do 3 hours on the invasion angle. Gee.
yeah,
Probably could.
exactly. But if you ask me if this defined the Attitude Era, I don't. To me personally, I don't think it really defined it. Honestly, this here, this promo, I don't personally buy it, but maybe others agree that it does. So Thomas, do you feel like this defined part of the Attitude Era?
Yeah, because it's the end of the era. It's the end of pretty much the beginning of the end of the Attitude Era. Because after this, no more competition.
Mhm.
They didn't need to go be edgy anymore. So yeah, this definitely, you can't tell the story of the Attitude Era without the end of it being them buying the competition.
I never thought about it like that. So now that you put it like that, it actually makes sense.
Because I was thinking the same thing. It's like, well, if it doesn't define it, does it end it?
Yeah. So now I get why that one could technically be put in there, saying absolutely it would define it. But you could tell how WWE at the time got so complacent afterwards because there was no competition afterwards that they're like, oh, we don't have to try hard because there's no competition.
Until these guys showed up.
This was
AEW.
this was the end of it right here. The buying WCW, that was definitely the end of it.
Yeah.
All right. Dragon Viper, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I agree. I actually forgot that was part of the Attitude Era. Because it was the ending of it, pretty much the ending of it. Did it define it? Yeah, it would have had to for it to end, because it's like what you guys said. I mean, at the time they had no other competition after buying it, so yeah, they softened up and held back and stopped trying so hard. So it did what define it, but yeah, it helped the Attitude Era because it was ending.
All right. Christy.
I'd say this is definitely an important moment. Defining, I'm not so sure, but this is definitely an important moment.
And
End of the Attitude Era.
And Crispy Bacon, I think I know where you're going with this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it really defines it, but it is a turning point in the Attitude Era from when, of having it to pretty much stopping at this point. Competition is good, but you don't want to be overly confident.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at this point, WWE, or at the time WWF, was a little bit too confident.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they learned their lessons from the past, but
I don't know.
All right, let's scroll on down. Let's go ahead and suplex our way into the next one. The Rock selling a cell rant.
Oh,
wow.
I love it.
I've heard that rant a couple times.
The
Yeah.
Rock selling a
Wow.
cell rant. That thing was so freaking awesome. That
Yep.
rant. That rant was killer. I'm gonna have myself a couple Steve Wises.
Mocking all
Oh my god.
the guys in that match
I did it for the
for
Rock.
the Rock.
The Rock.
For the people.
It was funny, but again, does not define the Attitude Era. You could tell the story without this promo.
Okay. So Thomas says no. Dragon Viper.
I think it's an amazing promo, but I again don't think it defined the Attitude Era. It was just really funny, and I loved it, and I watch it all the time.
All right, Christy.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it doesn't define it, but definitely was definitely an important promo during that time period.
Crispy Bacon.
I'm not sure. Maybe more so a defining moment for him in his career. But I don't know about the whole, Attitude Era. I'm going to say no on that. But maybe for him it was.
I did it for the people.
God, that promo by Rikishi was so stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, speaking of angles and like storylines, that storyline to me was just bizarre.
I think when they shot it, they had no idea where they were going with it. So they just, like, out of the blue, they just had Rikishi. Because they figured, well, Austin's going to be gone for almost a year. Or we don't know if he's going to come back. Because at that time, neck fusion surgery was new and they didn't know how it was going to react when he started taking bumps again. So I don't even think they even realized he was going to do it at the time.
Right? Yeah, and so I could see that to where they're like, we have no idea where we're going, so we're just gonna throw Rikishi in there.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's something. That's
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're just gonna take Rikishi and throw him in there and say he did it for the Rock. I am the game.
Oh, yes.
Time to play the game.
We broke JR's arm right there.
Oh god.
And where he exclaimed he is the game was a huge part of him becoming a top star in the company. So that's why they're putting this as a potential a big part of the Attitude Era. All right, Thomas, what you got for us?
Oh, yeah, this definitely defines the Attitude Era. It's the beginning of... It's right as Triple H is getting in that main event picture. He's already been WWF champion. This is like... I think this is from, like, No Mercy 2000. Like, after they did the angle with the snake bit Triple H, and he's like, well, everybody thought, oh, he got poisoned and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this helped define the Attitude Era, definitely. This helped Triple H, for sure. And get him on the map as a real top player.
All right, Dragon Viper.
Yeah, I think it defined the Attitude Era with him. I mean, he started turning into a heel and being a top star and definitely helped his career out the way that it ended up. So yeah, it definitely defined the Attitude Era.
All right, Christy.
No, definitely one of those defining moments for the Attitude Era, and especially for Triple H, because it really allowed him to kind of evolve his character and what he ended up eventually becoming. The game, the Cerebral Assassin.
All right, and Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, I would say this is a defining moment for the Attitude Era, and kind of like with The Rock, a defining moment for him. Pretty much, what we all know is Triple H today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go on to our next one here. Triple H reforms DX.
Ooh.
So
Yes.
Yeah, this was like the return of X-Pac. I believe, yeah, X-Pac and Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
Yeah, this was the night after WrestleMania 14.
Yep.
Okay.
When Triple H got X Pac, and then the New Age Outlaws joined Lear that night.
Yeah,
They were supposed to be heels, but somewhere in the next month they became baby faces.
Hmm.
well, yeah, because I think they really didn't have an option because they were so over.
Yeah.
Like the crowd just loved them that they're like, well, we can't really continue to make these guys heels because even if we have them heel, people love them. So it would be hard to keep them as heels.
Yeah, it's like the audience just couldn't cheer, just couldn't go against them. They were for them.
All right. So Dragon Viper, you also agree that this was a big defining moment?
I think it was, yeah.
All right. And Christy, you're saying yes also?
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely yes, because they were. I think they were just definitely one of those important factions in the Attitude Era.
Because that night when Raw goes off the air, you see all four of them on the four parts of the cage posing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. I mean, one of the most popular factions at that time. I think it was probably an important moment.
Which, speaking of like Billy Gunn and all that, it makes me wonder, and Thomas, I know you probably remember this one also, like when Billy Gunn had like left DX, became Mr. Ass and everything, and he just couldn't get over.
No,
Like he tried, like they tried to put him as like a main event type get over guy, but he just couldn't do it.
No.
no.
So what
he
do you
didn't have
think
the
the problem?
he didn't have the charisma.
And that would make sense because when it came in, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Ass, he's going to be that guy, and he's going to be a main event." It just didn't work.
They
Yeah.
repackaged him so many times trying to get him over, and none of it was working.
Nope, he wins King of the Ring, and then 2 months later, after he feuds with The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
he's back with Road Dogg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just wasn't working. They tried, it just couldn't do it.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not really a main he's not a
No,
main
he's not. He does play an important role in AEW, but he's not that big main event star. He probably was never meant to be a big main event star in the first place.
Yeah, it's some people you try and push them to make them a main eventer, but then some
Yeah.
people it just doesn't work out. And Billy
Yeah.
Gunn just happened to be one of those guys that they're like, "Hey, we want to try and push him." It just didn't work.
No.
Yeah.
They tried, but it was just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mankind interview.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
This interview was freaking amazing.
It was.
Yeah, this turned him babyface 100% and got him over. This was in
Nice.
'97, right after he was feuding with Taker.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, this thing was this interview to me is probably like one of the best interviews he's ever done. Like,
And this was during the infant stages of the Attitude Era.
Mm.
Yep.
After just starting.
all right, so Dragon Viper, you also agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it started showing who Mankind is and get him over real well. And so, yeah, I think he became one of the top stars because of this interview. And so, yeah, I think it defined it.
All right, Christy.
Definitely one of those defining moments because people really, I think, started paying attention to Mankind after this interview. Like, this looks like someone they can get behind.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, like another spot that I would talk about,
Mhm.
and I know it's not a promo, but it was a big spot that kind of
Mhm.
defined the Attitude Era. That really helped the Attitude Era against WCW. Was
Mhm.
that Monday Night Raw when they put the belt on Mankind when
Yeah.
Yep.
Mankind beat The Rock?
Oh,
Yep.
was
When
that the one where
WCW.
after?
Huh?
Sorry, I was gonna say, was that the moment when I think a certain stars lifted Mankind up on their shoulders after he'd won the belt and everything? 'Cause I
Yes.
remember
Yeah,
that. I remember that clip.
DX
Yeah.
put him on the shoulders.
DX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Triple H
I
and
was
Bailey
like,
carried him around the ring.
cool.
Yeah, that was a big defining moment because like people were like turning away from WCW to go look on WWF to be like, oh my gosh. But if you remember that same night, WCW was trying to get people to turn away from WWF by
Mhm.
trying to drop the spoiler on WCW.
Yep.
So, we
Ooh.
got word that Mankind is going to win the championship tonight, and
Yep,
then
Yep.
Mick Foley's gonna win the title. That's gonna put butts in seats.
yeah,
Mhm.
And
yeah,
then click.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the beginning of the end of WCW.
Well, yeah, because they were trying desperately to try and revert everybody over, but
It
once
didn't
they gave
work.
that, everybody immediately was like, "Oh, we're going to check out
Yeah.
Mankind win the belt over here."
It's like, how did he do it? Let's see how he did it.
It's like watching a movie and you're like, oh, this star's in it. Okay, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
watch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome though. I know it wasn't a promo, but that part was still cool in the Attitude Era. Brett Brett
Oh.
Brett screwed Brett.
God damn.
Oh yeah, you can't tell the story of the Attitude Era without this.
Definitely.
Montreal
This
screwed
was this what helped. This what helped really usher in the Attitude Era. I
Yep.
was like, what the hell happened that night?
Oh, and the funny thing, yeah, and there's
Definitely.
still a lot of debates now on whether or not people actually believe it was a shoot or it was a work. Like there's a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, that this is an absolute work because there was no way that this could be a shoot," and um that WWF was just working everybody at the time, and they're saying that obviously, Sean and Brett both knew just like everybody else because they're like,
Mhm.
there's no way that Vince or anybody would allow Brett in the ring to sit there and say WCW and do all this stuff in the ring. But
Well, that happened off the air with him finger shadowing WCW. That all happened off the air.
Mhm.
okay, well okay,
Yeah, I
so
did.
even though that happened off the air though, so do you feel like this was an absolute do you feel like this was a shoot or do you feel like that this was an actual work?
No, it was a shoot. 100% a shoot. Because why would you? Brett didn't come back for what was it, 13 years.
Yeah.
I know there's all that bad blood after Owen died, but after his retirement, after he was forced to retire from WCW due to concussions, he could have came back earlier, but I think it was all a shoot.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, uh, Dragon Viper, by looking at this promo, the Brett screwed Brett promo, what do you think of that one?
If it defined the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it defined it. I read or I heard about how that segment right there was the starting of the Mr. McMahon character. So yeah, I believe that it definitely defined the Attitude Era, especially if that is really what started the Mr. McMahon character.
Okay. Christy, what do you think?
Definitely one of those big defining moments at the beginning of the Mr. McMahon character, and I'm guessing it was a shoot, but it was
Well,
definitely definitely a defining moment.
We could thank Medusa for the screw job. Since she dropped
Oh
the
my
women's
God.
title in trash can, Vince was afraid Brett was going to do the same thing.
Right.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
because her dropping that into the trash can was one of the big factors in ECW starting up and becoming what it became.
All right. Crispy.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the defining moments. We're still talking about it today.
Mm-hmm.
There's some interviews that said, they talked about it backstage. Some people said they didn't know it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of speculations, but I think that's what makes it fun even today is because we still don't know the whole truth.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's definitely
And
one
I
of the defining
think,
moments that we're still talking about it today.
yeah. And there's even in the, I think it's Dark Side of the Rings episode on the Montreal Screwjob, they do mention this Brett Screwed Brett interview that Vince McMahon did.
All right. Let's go ahead and go on to the number one, what they say is the number one defining promo. And Austin.
Gee, I wonder what it is.
Yes. Definitely the defining moment of this era. The
Oh,
Right.
Attitude Era.
Thomas, what do you got for us on this one?
This is going to get heat, but no, this did not define the Attitude Era.
Oh!
This did not even start the Attitude Era. Austin didn't do anything after this until Brett came back in the fall of '96. Austin wasn't even on TV much. He wasn't in any feuds. At SummerSlam '96, he was on the free for all against Yokozuna, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And he only beat Yokozuna because of a ring malfunction. The top rope broke.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
So he didn't do anything. This is all revisionist history saying that this defined the Attitude Era. Not even close.
Not even close. Okay. All right. Dragon Viper.
Oh, I'm half and half on this one because, I mean, Thomas is right. The beginning of the Austin 316 era or whatever. Yeah, it didn't at first. It didn't define the Attitude Era because it really wasn't much of an Attitude Era to begin with. But as it progressed, as Austin 316 progressed and the Attitude Era hit, I think it defined the Attitude Era after, I want to say, late 96, mid 97. I think it started around mid 97, I want to say, and then it progressed through the Attitude Era, and I think it defined the Attitude Era after a certain point. But yeah, my answer is yes.
So, just really quick, Thomas, this is what this says. This says he defined this period of WWE, and it was his post King of the Ring victory promo that really established his character, making it a huge moment. Without this promo, it's unclear if the Attitude Era would have even happened. And without Austin's star power, it's hard to say if WWE would have won the Monday Night Wars. That is what makes this the most defining promo from this period of time.
Austin wasn't even a star yet. He was a mid-card dude shooting with Salvador Vega the month before. And I think, honestly, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think Bret Hart started the Attitude Era. If he doesn't start like being a crybaby about losing and everything, and Austin just speaking the truth, I don't think any of this happens. I think it's Bret Hart that started the Attitude Era.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you had Stone Cold and Bret Hart at each other's throats for a little while, but Stone Cold and Bret Hart both.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dragon Viper. Yeah, but also if it wasn't Bret's willingness to come back and work with Austin,
yeah,
none of that ever happened.
Yeah. So all right. So Christy, how about you?
It's definitely one of those big defining moments because if Austin hadn't have cut this, I mean, what would have happened? Really, you don't get a lot of things that happened if Austin had not cut this 316 promo after he won King of the Ring. And I think it was just the beginning of him establishing, of him becoming the huge star that we now know him as. I mean, like Thomas said, he was a mid-carder back then. And I personally think this promo was just the very beginning of him really establishing himself as a star.
All right, Mr. Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a defining moment. It started the whole Austin 316 and
Mm-hmm.
what we see today. And, you know, they always say the King of the Ring, or now Queen of the Ring, kind of how, you know, a lot of them start their career or springboard their career. And I think this was probably that moment that helped, you know, the Austin 316 and all that stuff.
All right, so to wrap this up, there's two final questions for you before we head off here, and you can answer them both at the same time. Number one, to you, who was that defining person in the Attitude Era? And that's the first one. And then number two, who had the best entrance in the Attitude Era? So, all right, Thomas, who defined the Attitude Era? And number two, who had the best entrance in the Attitude Era?
Well, definitely Austin defined it. Without him becoming that top star, there was no Attitude Era, but yet Austin defined it. Best entrance? Taker and Kane, both of them tied. They both had cool entrances. Kane with the fire coming out, and Taker with the lights going out and his eerie music.
Okay. Dragon Viper, to you, who defined the Attitude Era?
See, I'm not a complete Kane hater.
I appreciate that.
Oh.
I appreciate that. All right. Dragon Viper, who defined it and the best entrance?
Well, yeah, Stone Cold definitely defined it. Oh, and the entrance, yeah, definitely. Oh man, I'm torn between Undertaker and DX.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna go with both Undertaker and DX.
Okay. Christy.
I'll probably go Stone Cold defined it. As for the entrance, I'd probably go The Undertaker.
Okay. Crispy Bacon.
Stone Cold definitely defined it, and I'm going with. Ooh, we'll go Triple H.
All right. Defining the Attitude Era, we're gonna go with Eugene.
No Hornswoggle.
No, please, not that guy. Anybody but that guy.
Yeah. Little Hornswoggle.
Oh,
Defining the Attitude Era. Yeah, it probably would have had to been like, my thought was it was always either Austin or The Rock for the Attitude Era, because The Rock was a big part of it too. To me, that's a toss up between them. The best entrance, to me, the DX entrance was just so awesome.
Yeah,
That
I agree with that.
That entrance was so cool. That entrance was hard not to like the "Are you ready?" That I love that entrance. But thanks again for everybody for watching. Thanks everybody who joined. Thomas, thank you so much.
Yay.
For coming
Yes,
out
thank you.
to talk about this.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you again. It was so much fun. So, Thomas, any final thoughts for all of our viewers and for anybody here?
Thank you for having me. It was a blast. And everybody just be safe and have a great week.
All right,
Happy
thank you
wrestling, to quote Ian Riccaboni.
All All right, Dragon Viper, your final thoughts?
Thank you for everybody for watching. Thank you for Thomas for coming on here. And I hope everybody has a great night and great week.
All right, Christy.
Well, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you Thomas for joining us and everything. And everyone have a great week, and stay tuned for all kinds of cool stuff.
All right, and then Crispy Bacon, what you got for us?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Glad to have you back here, Thomas. And everybody stay safe this week and enjoy the week.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. It's been another fun episode, and we'll see you next Sunday for another episode of Between the Ropes. With that, y'all have a good night, and y'all come back now. Are you
Are you ready?
Have a good night.